Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch You Want. Thanks for logging on. Today we're looking at the Ralph Lauren Classique Ultra Slim, 42 millimeters in 950 purity platinum. It's also 5.4 millimeters thick. You can see this Ralph Lauren Classique Ultra Slim on our website, watchyouwant.com. Take it home if you like, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Watch You Want Inc. Now, the idea of a proper luxury watch bearing the Ralph Lauren name is certain to stir emotions, for and against. This is a watch that courts controversy, not so much because of its fit, finish, or watchmaking chops, all of which are superb, but because it bears a name more closely associated with fashion and haute couture than actual high horology. Let's see how it redeems itself. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters, you can see that the watch is every millimeter as dramatic as its counterparts within the Richemont Group at JLC or Vacheron Constantin. It's truly dramatic to be this wide, 42 millimeters, with knife edges and this thin. I'll mention that the watch sits superbly on my 16 centimeter wrist, and because it's solid platinum with a solid case back for rigidity, at this thickness you kind of need that solid case back, but because it has beautifully short lugs, the 42 doesn't seem ungainly for a proper dress watch, and it has nicely semi-conforming end pieces, or I should say spring bars, within the strap, which is completely unbolstered and very thin, so it curves easily around a smaller wrist. As massive as this case is for its size, it wears easily, comfortably, and easily flows around the curvature of a tighter wrist. Now, one measure that I really have to recognize with a shout out is the pin buckle, which is also of 950 purity platinum. That's a big deal because there are many luxury watchmakers, even at or above the billing of the Ralph Lauren brand, that are shipping platinum watches with white gold buckles, deployant, and pin. I don't like that. I like that Ralph Lauren has the integrity to include a platinum buckle with a platinum watch. But more than that, think of this watch as a one-for-one equivalent to something like a Piaget Altiplano, because quite frankly, that's what it is. It has a Piaget caliber 430 manual wind inside, and on the outside it features a métier d'art that is quite beautiful, traditional, and irreproachable from a craft standpoint. Now what you can see is that there's guilloche, a sort of barleycorn or clou de Paris on the dial, and that it continues around the platinum bezel. This is significant because Richemont and Ralph Lauren, which have been in partnership since 2007, in watches, making watches since 2009, actually invested in vintage equipment, 19th century rose lathes, to create this barleycorn pattern on both the dial as well as the bezel. It's a hand-guided process using traditional mechanical tools to create this recurring motif that circles the dial, adds character, adds definition, and helps break up the sheer span of a 42 millimeter dress watch. Now inside, if this watch courts controversy by virtue of its concept, inside the bezel, within the dial, it's very traditional. Everything here references watchmaking history. You can see the stylized Roman numerals of Breguet. Heck, you can see the hands pioneered by Breguet, the so-called Breguet style. Everything's legible, everything's very classical in proportion, in detail. There's a gorgeous sort of concentric dimpled guilloche pattern that rounds the hour track and separates it from the minute track outboard. The hands have a beautiful scope and span to them, such that the minute hand properly stretches right to the edge of the minute track, and likewise the hour hand having just enough length to kiss the underside of the hour track itself. It's quite beautifully done, and proper hand length is something that even the oldest brands in high horology don't always get right, so I give Ralph Lauren and Richemont a lot of credit for getting this one right out of the gate. Now, as I mentioned, the case back is solid, and that's because this watch is incredibly thin. 5.4 millimeters, that puts it solidly in the range of something like a Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Ultra Thin 1907, so it's in that league of ultra thin watch, and with the Piaget 430 caliber inside, it has a nice slow 21,600 vibration per hour heartbeat. Now, that's a 3 Hz movement, Piaget manufacture. Impressively, Ralph Lauren retained the hacking feature of the base Piaget movement, in spite of the fact that this watch does not have a seconds hand. So you truly can take advantage of every refinement Piaget engineered into this 2.1 millimeter thick manual wind caliber, and you benefit from it with the Ralph Lauren watch. Sure, hacking on an hour and minute watch might be academic, but it speaks to the level of content inside the watch as well as the art and craft on the outside of the watch that adds real value. Now, these watches were made in 3 sizes and continue to be made in 32, 38, and 42, 42 being the largest and the rarest. Combine that with the platinum case and you have a Ralph Lauren watch that's almost unheard of. This is the first one I've seen. It's the first one I've even seen advertised anywhere. Ralph Lauren built very, very few of these watches, and given that his brand is still something of a small name within the Richemont empire, exclusivity is assured. This watch is fine. It's fabulous. It has irreproachable watchmaking content inside and the most traditional of watchmaking arts on the outside. This ultra-thin 42mm platinum Ralph Lauren Classique Ultra Slim can be seen and purchased on our website, watchyouwant.com.